The Clinton Foundation used to be one of the biggest charities in the world, believe it or not. Its revenues have collapsed, though. Why? Hillary lost. What does that tell us? We'll unpack it after the break. Hearing a lot about quid pro quos recently in Washington. Everyone's against them, at least when they allegedly involve the sitting president. But it's not the only quid pro quo going on. In fact, they're par for the course in Washington. Hunter Biden's obviously corrupt arrangement with Burisma is a quid pro quo. The Clinton Foundation is one giant quid pro quo, and it's persistently ignored. In 2016, with Hillary Clinton expected to be the next president, the Clinton Foundation attracted massive donations from around the world. It was one of the largest charities anywhere. 3 years later, its revenues have collapsed. Why is that exactly? Peter Schweitzer would know. He's the author of Secret Empires, How the American Political Class Hides Corruption and Enriches Family and Friends. Because boy, do they. He joins us tonight. Peter, thanks for coming on. So it's just, I think it's a public service to get a regular update from you on how the Clinton Foundation is doing. How's it doing?
It's not doing well, Tucker. Just consider this number. This past year, the Clinton Foundation literally raised 10% of what it did in 2009, the first year that Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State. And the international numbers are even worse. They had all this money flowing in when Hillary was the chief diplomat of the United States. Curiously, in light of the testimony, the number one country for giving money to the Clinton Foundation was not Great Britain, it was not France, it was not Japan, it was Ukraine. All that money has now dried up, literally. The Clinton Foundations have a hard time raising money because they don't have influence to sell. They don't have power or access to sell. And that, I think, is the primary evidence for what the Clinton enterprise was all about.
But what about all the women and girls they were empowering?
Yeah, I mean, look, they still have those programs. The Clintons certainly have a lot more time than they did in 2015 and 2016 to spend building up the foundation, but it simply hasn't happened. And look, one of the most interesting things that came out of those Podesta emails a few years ago was an internal review that the Clinton Foundation did actually at Chelsea's behest. They hired Simpson Thacher, the law firm, to sort of look at the Clinton Foundation. And what they found is that high-dollar donors to the Clinton Foundations had expectations of what? They had expectations of quid pro quos. That's the word of Simpson Thacher in their internal review. So you are quite right. I mean, with all the discussion in Washington and these impeachment hearings, you know, it's remarkable to me that there's no interest in the Clinton Foundation. Just consider the testimony of Gordon Sondland and this whole issue of, you know, a meeting in the White House between the Ukrainian president and Donald Trump, which some have alleged was linked to them announcing these investigations. Well, that's a classic example of access. Well, the Clintons did that every day when she was Secretary of State.
But self-awareness in short supply here in the nation's capital, as you know better than most. Peter Schweitzer, thanks so much for that update. I hope you'll come back all the way until it folds,
Thanks, Tucker.
which won't be long.